Hi, I'm Jackie Sabrin, and welcome. This is the Engaged at Any Age Summit, and I'm delighted to introduce to you today our expert, Paula Houilahan. Paula, thank you so much for being here.
Well, Jackie, thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here.
I'm really thrilled about our talk because I know you're going to share a lot of wonderful things to help women get engaged at any age, and there's a process, and you're going to contribute greatly to that, and so I'm excited. Let me tell the audience a little bit about you, and I love this. You're a transformational diva, a money mystic and lover of all things magic, an alchemist at the truest sense. I would love for you to expand on that a little bit. And so what you do is you transform the ordinary into something extraordinary. And that includes your life, your business, your relationships, and your relationship with money. And that's the part that I'm really excited to talk about. Because you help women redefine their relationship with money. And that's such an important piece to getting engaged at any age and just creating all that balance in your life. And so thank you so much for being here. And again, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And Jackie, I just want to take a moment to thank you for what you're putting together here. This is fabulous. And I was just thrilled to be asked to be a part of it. So thank you for what you're putting out into the world. It's important.
Oh, it's such my pleasure. I was engaged and married last year at 50, and I know that there's so many women that want relationships, that want to be in a committed relationship, and so I wanted to provide not only things about attracting your soulmate, but this money piece, such an important piece, and you have created this balance. And so what you're going to share is really instrumental in helping women to achieve their help them, make their dreams come true. And so, but I want you to tell our listeners your story and how you came to be the money alchemist and how you're changing your relationship with money and how you've changed your relationship with money and how it's changed your life.
Well, that could be a summit in and of itself, so we'll give you the short version of that. Okay. I started out like many women. My story is not exceptional in any way. It's all of us. We have this point in our lives where we realize we're not living our bliss. We realize that there's something more for us. We know that there is more to life than what we're living. We're trying to find moments in our busy schedules to find those pieces of bliss to fill our lives. We live by occasion to occasion. We mark our time by those few moments where we really truly get to be with people we love, doing the things that we love. And I found that in my path, my biggest block that I bumped against was that I was afraid to be truly seen. Now, you said in my introduction, I love all things magic, and I have gifts that I've kept hidden most of my life. As a child, I learned that I could see and hear things that other people couldn't. It made adults, particularly the ones that I looked up to, very uncomfortable. I learned at a very young age that in order to fit in, I needed to hide those parts of myself. And what happened is I was taught, not purposefully, but just taught through experience, to compromise parts of who I am to be accepted. And I think that that's something that many, if not all, our listeners can relate to.
Yes.
I carried that on into adulthood. I was in a marriage that was not, really matched well because I was hiding this part of myself. That marriage ultimately ended. My husband and I, my first husband and I, left on amicable terms. We're still friends to this day, but it just really wasn't a union where we were fully honest with each other about what was important. And then I went into another marriage, because I'm forever the optimist and forever the romantic, and that marriage ended up being an abusive relationship. And for anyone who's experiencing that now or has, I just want you to know that there is no shame in this. I found myself in a situation where I woke up one day and didn't know how I ended up there. I'm an educated woman. I fell in love. I married the man that I thought I was marrying, and I woke up and realized that that wasn't the case. And then the abuse started coming in. But again, I wasn't wanting to show that part of myself. I was afraid that if I let people see what was really going on, who I really was, that I would be rejected, that I would be, cast out, that people would want nothing to do with me, because there's a lot of shame in those types of situations.
Right.
Added to that, I was working a career that I kept my spirituality very hush-hush, again, trying to fit in. I was in the corporate world. Spirituality and corporate success don't necessarily go hand in hand, at least not in the forefront. And so I ended up in a very serious situation in my marriage, which I ultimately ended. But I needed to get to that point where I woke up one day and said, I would rather die than live another day of it. And that's really profound. And it doesn't have to be that extreme for everyone, but we have those moments where we realize that we can't do this one more day. And when you get to that point, that's when you find the courage to really step out and pursue what it is that you're wanting. And that's when I really started getting honest with what was important to me. So how did I become the money alchemist? Well, I ended that relationship. I survived, thank goodness. My children survived. I left my corporate career because at that point I had stage 4 adrenal fatigue, so I was really looking at the choices I was making in my life and recognizing that those choices were slowly killing me. With adrenal fatigue, once your adrenals shut down, there's not much they can do for you. So I made new choices. And in that process, I realized that I wanted to go back to school, finish up my psychology degree. And that's where I came across coaching. That's where, during that time frame, I met my current husband. I told you I'm an optimist, forever a romantic. I got married a third time. Wonderful man, and we've been together 13 years now. So
that's fantastic.
Really well supported.
No, it's
I was in my late 40s then. So, I love what you say about it's never too late.
Yeah.
But I think, go ahead.
So were you feeling stuck then in that second marriage, or just in the first two and in your life, by having suppressed those natural talents and those urgings that you had? How did you get unstuck? And how can women do what you did to get unstuck, either and find a relationship or in their current relationship?
Really good question. Because again, I think that this is a common story amongst all of us. We just have our different versions of it. Yes, absolutely, I was stuck. And I realized I was stuck because of me, because of the choices I was making, because of what I was afraid to share. I had these ideas about who I should be, what I should be doing, all the ought-tos, right? And I recognized that those did not work for me. I don't know where those ideas came from. I adopted them throughout the course of my life, but they weren't working, and I had to be differently. And I made the decision to be different. I made the decision to really look within and think about what was important to me and how I wanted to really live my life. Now I'm 51, they call that middle age. I'm looking at, the first half of my life I spent hiding. The second half of my life I spent helping others not hide, stepping into your power, stepping into the realization that you and only you are keeping you where you are. And it's because of those choices, usually subconscious choices that we're making, right? Those ideas about who you're supposed to be. And when I stepped out of that, the floodgates opened, right? The doors to opportunity opened. Like I said, that's when I met my current husband. That's when I was able to leave the work that I was doing and start following the work that my heart called for. And so this gets to where I'm the money alchemist, right?
Right.
So I discovered also that money is a really good teacher of what's going on under the surface. It's a really good mirror, so to speak, of what your beliefs are, whether you're conscious beliefs or they're your subconscious beliefs.
Right.
Because how you do your money, how you do your relationship, how you do anything is how you do everything, as the quote goes, right? So I discovered that my money had a lot to teach me, and now that's the tool that I use to help other women step into your power, discover what's true for you, and then learn where you might be blocking that truth, where you might be blocking that ability to live that way.
And so many women, this is so many women's story is this money piece. And so when you're helping women redefine their relationship with money, that's got to be kind of a painful process because we haven't looked at that piece, or maybe we just haven't had the tools to do that. Is there a process that you take them through? It's having it really real and really honest. And I know that's a difficult thing when it comes to money and women.
Hmm. Well, and money's so taboo, right? We don't talk about it. We don't want to admit what we have or don't have. And there's a lot of shame and stigmatism around that, too. Not to mention the belief that, you have to work hard to earn a good living, or that money is the root of all evil, and all those other cultural things that are out there. But yes, so the process that I take my clients through is this. I have this practice called your money magic mirror. Now, as I said, money is a reflection for what's going on, and it's helping you see what needs to be cleared so that you can live that life that you're wanting to. And so to change the reflection in a mirror, you don't change the mirror, right? You don't move the mirror to a different wall. You don't buy a different mirror. You change the person standing in front of it. So we use what's going on in your relationship with your money, looking at it honestly. There's no judgment. There's no shame. Where it's coming from, where it's not coming from, what you are or aren't earning, how you feel about your money. You know, what is the feeling of having more money? What would that give you? And we looked at all of those things to really get clear on what's important to you. And then I also bring in this concept of your signature strengths. These are the pieces and parts of yourself that are really your very nature. And the father of modern positive psychology, Martin Seligman, is the forerunner of that whole theory, and more than we can get into right now, but that's one of the pieces that I bring in as well, so that we can understand what's truly your strength, what's truly your bliss, your joy, what your money's teaching you about why you are or are not allowing that in your life, and then how to unlock that, how to open that up, so that, like me, you can open up those floodgates. You can start living the life that you want to live on your terms. And I'll tell you this, Jackie, and you know this, sharing this with your listeners, you are the key. You know, understanding and loving who you are is what unlocks all these other doors for yourself, right?
Yes, absolutely. And this has been a struggle of mine, and I know I share that with women, just defining, having to define ourselves through our money. And so I love this process that you're taking women on. Is there a specific steps that our listeners can do right now to start creating, to move them forward? I know the self-inquiry and asking questions on where you are, that's a great first step. Thank you for that. I think that's really good. I made some notes there. And so what's another step that you can give them right away? How can they really do that? Is it just a matter of asking themselves questions and moving in the direction that they want to go?
That's a very big part of it, because I believe that you have all the answers to the questions you're asking within you. It's just that we're not conditioned or taught how to access those questions and answers, right? We're taught to look outside of ourselves, which I think is why we have the problems that we have, because we're so focused on other people or money or situations or experiences to make us happy that we forget where our real happiness lies. And so instead of trying to make other things fit what we want, the key is to unlocking and realizing who you are, what's important to you, and how to live that. Stand what I call stand in your truth. Embrace that inner magic of who you are. And then what you want will naturally navigate and be attracted to you. And that's the difference. Instead of trying to struggle to make everything work and control everything, just allow it to come. And so what can you do today? Yes, first, think about, what is it that I want today? What is it that, what's most important that you're wanting in your life right now that's not there?
Well, I think our
And
listeners
then,
say they want a relationship, but also I would say right next to that, they would say they want money.
right.
Yeah.
So now that you know that's what you want, what will that do for you? what feeling will that give you? Think about that, because that's what you're really wanting. The relationship, yes. The money, yes. But what's beyond that? What is it that that will fulfill for you? That's what you're truly wanting. So, for example, for me, I wanted security. I wanted security. A relationship would bring me security. More money would bring me security. Security was what I was truly wanting. So here's your next step today.
Right.
Once you identify what that's what, in my case it was security, look in your life and see, where do I have security? Where have I already created it? And focus on expanding that. This is the difference between trying to make something bring you something as opposed to discovering where you have that power now and how can I bring it into the other areas of my life. So once I realized that I really was safe, that I managed to get out of a very dangerous relationship, that I managed to walk away from a career and still support myself, then I didn't need a relationship to make me feel secure. I didn't need more money to make me feel secure. But guess what I attracted? I attracted the relationship that I truly wanted and the money that I wanted, because now I was a magnet for it, as opposed to avoid trying to bring it in. And that's the difference.
Okay, and so you took the steps to kind of create this balance in your own life first, and once you were able to do that by doing the work that you did on yourself and getting out of that toxic relationship, then the things that you really wanted came in, because there were some kind of blocks there between what you wanted and where you were. And so removing those blocks, everything just showed up and you received the things you were truly wanting.
Yeah, and Jackie, as I'm sure you've experienced too, once I started to love myself, I believed that I deserved those things. Yes. And until I believed that, I couldn't receive.
And so what was it that when you realized, when you started to realize that you weren't loving yourself, and what are the things you did to start to become more self-loving? Because I think that's such a big piece of all of this, is we're so focused on the outside and pleasing others and doing everything we feel we're supposed to do that we abandon ourselves in the process. And then we even blame others for abandoning us.
So one of my revelations when I was doing that deep thinking, when I was really looking at what choices I was making, I realized that I was looking to other people and other things to make me feel good about myself. So that was my first group. And then I started to think about why I didn't feel good about myself. What underlying belief systems were in place that made me think that I wasn't good enough? Well, duh. I was hiding most of who I was. So I had already made a decision that there was a part of me that wasn't acceptable. And once I came to terms with that and embraced that part of me and appreciated that part of me, did I instantly not have fear that other people would reject me? No, we won't. That's part of the process. But it's about looking at what, and just thinking of your thoughts, monitoring what you think about yourself. I mean, how many times in the day do you self-judge yourself for criticize?
Nobody.
Those are the keys to paying attention.
Yes.
Pay attention to those and then question them. Right there in that moment, ask yourself, is that true? Is my butt really too big? No.
Yeah.
But where did that idea come from? And why am I judging my butt, or my thighs, or my, whatever it is? Am I not smart enough? Well, no, I am. Well, where did that idea come from? If you can trace it back to who told you, even more powerful, but you don't have to. I mean, if it's just a thought that's in your head, now you know that it's a thought, and now you know that you have the choice to think something else.
Absolutely.
That's where you power it.
Yeah, and that once you make that connection to how much power you do have over your thoughts, but that inner critic can be so judgmental, and you really said it. We judge ourselves all day long. No one's judging us. We are causing the most harm, which lowers kind of chips away at our self-esteem and our self-worth throughout the day, and can leave us feeling very unlovable. And so I'm really happy that you brought up that self-love piece and having compassion for yourself. You must have come into a lot of compassion for everything that you've gone through, and also just validating that how much you have done to move yourself forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important to give yourself credit. It's important to think about what it is that you want, and it's important not to entertain any thoughts that are contrary to those, because your mind will start to believe them. You know, your subconscious is like a child that believes whatever you tell it.
Absolutely, I love that.
So why not fill it with great things?
Yeah. Do you have a process that where you keep yourself on track? It's easy to get off track. What do you
Oh, yeah.
surround yourself with that's constantly, just redirecting your thoughts at all times?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I do are affirmations every day. I do those every morning and night just to kind of remind myself on a daily basis what it is that I'm focusing on. And I've also gotten into the habit, Jackie, of really paying attention to my thoughts and my emotions, because your emotions are a great compass to whether you're on track or off track, right? And
Yes.
so if I'm feeling any energy that's a drain, or if I'm feeling any, quote unquote, negative emotions like sadness or disappointment or frustration, I, I've trained myself to really focus on that, catch it, and then think, well, where's that coming from? What shifted from the time I woke up to now? And typically there's a thought there. There's this idea there. And when you can address that idea and thought, now you're in the place to decide, is that a thought I want to continue to entertain? If it's not, kick it out. Replace it with what you want to entertain. And you'll be surprised how quickly your energy starts shifting. You'll be surprised how quickly you start co-creating exactly what you're wanting in your life. Because now you're not focusing on what you don't want, you're focusing on what you want.
That's beautiful. Just listening to you talk about this, and since we started the interview, I it's like we're talking about this, so I'm being filled with it, and my whole energy feels wonderful, and I'm feeling self-loving. I'm loving you. It's like I'm loving everything. That's what we're focusing on, and so
Right.
it's just so important. I'm so glad that you drove that home. It's so important that we monitor our thoughts and our emotions because they are tied to something else, to a thought that's going on. And so we can get stuck in that little hamster trail of going around and around and around until we identify what it is that's causing that upset. And so I would love to hear, I know you've put together a beautiful free gift for our audience. Will you share a little bit about that and how you came to create it and everything about it?
Yes, I'm super excited. So I'm very proud of this piece. I put together an ebook that brings in all the bits and pieces. It's a great first kind of introduction to this whole world of co-creation, and it's called Activate Your Money Magic, 3 Wands to Dazzle Your Brilliance and Make More Money in Your Business and in Your Life. And so what we do is we focus on the 3 wands that can help you transform your life. And that's kind of what we touched on today. It's transforming your thinking. It's changing that reflection that your money is showing you by changing you, not the mirror. And it's also awakening to the power that you have within. I call it activating your money magic. Really bringing in that piece where you know the difference between what's happening to you versus what you're co-creating. And so there's different chapters in that book, and one focuses on what money is, how it appears, why it appears the way that it does or doesn't. I do take you through the money magic mirror practice, give you a little intro to that.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about how you can activate your money magic, and then I give you an invitation. And so one of the things, Jackie, that I'm offering anyone that downloads that ebook, because I'm so excited, I made a promise to myself this year that I would reach and help as many women as I could this year. And so what I'm offering is a scholarship for a complimentary 30-minute coaching session. In that time together, whether that's all we do together or not, you will identify a key money block and a plan of action to release it before we're off that call. And that's my gift to you.
Wow, that is so generous, and so the lucky listener that's going to take advantage of that. I I I think that would be so valuable to have someone sit with you and just really get clear on what those things are because they're blocks. You can't see them. If you could see them, you could just move through them, but they're things that we can't see. And so having someone help you to see the things that are blocking you is really critical to move forward. Otherwise, we just stay stuck, like you were sharing earlier. And I love the bedazzling. I love that word. I think it's a great word to describe you and what you do and the great work you're doing for women. So tell me one more time. I just wanted to ask you another question. So when was it that I know you told me your story about how you came to be here? Was there a moment in time where when you came into that alignment with your gifts and just knowing that that work, if you put it together, that you would be in alignment and have that prosperity piece that you wanted and the relationship? Do you recall when that was, or was it just a process that when you're wanting the relationship, wanting the money, wanting to bring it all together?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jackie. So it's both, actually. I had moments where specific things became very clear to me. So, for example, I referenced that I had a moment where I knew I did not want to live another day like this. That this was it. There would not be another day like this. I had a moment where I knew I could not continue to hide. I could not continue to do the work that I was doing and deny what my heart was calling for. Now, was there a moment when I knew everything would work out? No. I can honestly say that never happened. But here's what did happen. I knew that if I followed my heart, because nothing else was an option, it had to work out. And I believed that it would. And that's where your faith comes in, right? That's where you make a choice. You make the decision that you will not accept anything else. The knowing part comes with practice of that. And so that's the journey part. That's where, yes, it's been part of the journey. And the more that I co-create, the more I feel confident in the co-create process. But it's also a learning process because every level gives you new stuff to work through. Because if you had the life that you wanted, you wouldn't have to work through anything. The reason you don't have the life that you want, don't have the relationship, don't have the money, whatever that is for you, is because you're not vibrationally matched to it. And so when you make the decision, here's the good part and the not so good part, all your stuff comes up. All that stuff that wants to be clear says, okay, here I am. Now, a lot of people think that that's the piece that goes, oh, it's not meant to be. But I can promise you, when you get through it to the other side, now you're that much closer to living exactly what it is that you want, exactly who you want to be. I can also tell you, when I said I'm done with relationships, I need to work on me, guess who showed up? When I worked on me, yeah, my relationship, exactly. Because now I knew what I wanted. I wasn't trying to be something for someone else, and I wasn't trying to make someone else be something for me. And I was able to have a real match, you know, true love, with respect, with understanding. Do we see eye to eye on anything? No. We see eye to eye, I should rephrase that. We see eye to eye on, you know, what's important to us. But, you know, we're completely different personalities. We have our own likes, our own dislikes, and we have our own belief systems. But that's great because we respect each other. We respect that, you know, we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we have a right to have our own beliefs. And
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. You said that alignment piece when you decided to stop and just really evaluate where you were and what you really wanted and stop living for others and started focusing on yourself. Then you started to shift your alignment because when you're not in alignment, you can't have the things that you want as much as you want them. In fact, the more you focus on them without removing those blocks, the further away they actually get. And so I love that you explained that out so that our listeners can really understand it, that you do have to do the work that it takes to put yourself in alignment if you want a relationship with that man that you want. You need to work on yourself, fall in love with yourself, and take care of your own needs. And as soon as you do that, the moment you do, he will show up.
yeah, because until then, he can't. Until then, all the men you've dated before will continue to show up because they're trying to teach you that piece, right? That's part of your stuff showing up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and here's the other thing too, Jackie, is a lot of times we get so caught up in what feels real, right? What feels like reality. I can't tell you how many times you'll say, well, that works for you, but that's not what most people experience. Well, that's because most people are following the conditioning that they're taught to live, and they're not looking within. So it works. Jackie, you're living proof of it. I am too, as are many of the experts that are on this telesummit, and I just am so honored to be part of it.
And thank you so much for being here. I've really enjoyed our interview, and you've shared so many wonderful pearls of wisdom. In fact, I would like to let the audience know and remind you that you can upgrade at any time to purchase the entire summit, so you can watch Paula's interview at your leisure over and over again, so you can have access to that simply by going to engaged@anyage.com/upgrade. And that'll be available to you. And also her free gift right below this interview screen. You'll see a click here. You can get immediate access to her wonderful Bedazzled gift and that opportunity to speak with her personally. And again, Paula, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our interview, and I look forward to reading through your ebook. I'm dying to get a hold of that myself. Thank you so much. It's very generous.
Thank you, Jackie. It's been my pleasure and my honor. And thank you for all your listeners and the time that you've invested in yourself here today. That's a huge step. So when you do that, you give other people permission to do it too. So
Thank you. And I'm excited to hear about all the engagements that are going to be coming from the summit. So I'll keep you posted.
yeah. Okay.
Have a beautiful day, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.